Hi, I'm Amanda. Today we are going to address making simple user interfaces in Windows using the system-defined dialog boxes. One of the great burdens of writing applications in Windows is having to create user interfaces, and while some of them can be very complicated to write, for code that does not require a complex interface, Windows has a really simple technique for making dialog boxes by using a dialog editor. The dialog editor we will be using is res-ed written by Ketil Olsen, which is available for download in the forum. Let's make a simple dialog using the dialog editor. First we make a bare dialog window in the dialog editor. Then we add a couple of buttons to it, so that we have the bare minimum to make a basic executable file. With this we can now create the very simple code that turns a dialog window into an executable file. We now open the RC script file that is created by the dialog editor to get a number of important identifiers. First we get the main dialog identifier in red text, then we get the identifiers for the two buttons in green text, and we have enough data to start writing the assembler code to run the dialog. While the RC script only has a few items in it, it is much easier to understand, and with future development, once you know where things are in the script, it makes it much easier to understand. Okay, we have enough to proceed, let's write some code. We create some necessary globals in the uninitialized data section, then start the code section. Then we define the entry point. This is where the application actually starts. We obtain the instance handle, and then the icon handle, before making the call to the dialog's message handling procedure. Note that the message handling procedure is identified by the ID number obtained from the RC script file. The message handling procedure has a system-specified argument list, which is required to obtain the necessary data to process messages that are sent to it by the operating system. From the message provided in the argument list, a conventional switch block is used to process a number of system messages sent to the dialog. The WM init dialog message handles the initialization of any number of things. You can think of it as the dialog version of WM create. The following message, WM command, is where much of the interaction between user and the application occurs. It can be a button pressed, a menu option being selected, or even the target of a send message call. The two identifiers for the two buttons obtained from the RC script are used here, so that each button is synchronized with the method of responding to the button being pressed. The next message, WM close, is important code in that it must be done correctly, or you may get unreliable results. The correct way to terminate a dialog is to use end dialog. The use of the XORed RAX register and the following return is where the default message handler is managed by the operating system. Once you assemble and link the source, you have a working empty container that you can create a new application in. This is the start of where you begin creative genius. The distinction here is between the basic mechanics of a Windows application that is defined by the operating system, and what you can do with that empty container. The answer, of course, is just about anything, as long as you get the basic mechanics right first. A terminology from the past was event-driven programming, and while it was generally associated with visual garbage generators, it can be used to describe the basic architecture of any Windows application. Clicking on a button is an event. Selecting an option from a menu is an event. Choosing an option in a combo box is an event, and with any control type, when you do something, you have triggered an event. A running application is able to idle, using close to no system resource at all, which is very efficient in terms of CPU resource usage. But when a user initiates an event, the system responds by activating the idling application. There is an old technology that I need for setting colors in dialogs. I think I know who would be familiar with code this old. I will give Dave a ring and see if he remembers ancient stuff like this.
That sounds like Amanda. I have not heard from you for a long time. What can I do for you?
Dave, I am after some very old code, a set of techniques to set the colors in dialogs. I vaguely remember hearing about this, but it's a bit before my time.
All right, love, I think I know what you are after. It's the ancient WMCTL color family of messages. They are so old, they are almost lost in the mists of time. I will send a sample over to you in the morning. I am a bit busy at the moment.
That's it for today. We will do the next video when Dave's code arrives. I am off for a hot bath. See ya later.